we are. We are on event 5 of day 1, round 3 mile trail run. I won't film this whole thing because I think it's going to be like 40 minutes. Maybe I will. But I think Matt wins. Matt wins. I'm trying to think who's going to come second for the men.
Early on, as Justin Madero said, Matt Fraser, who looks like they're leading the way here.
Gosh, I have no clue. I have no clue on the rest of the 4 of the men. But Matt wins it by 3 minutes, 4 minutes for the men.
Fraser and Toomey now out front. Toomey leads the way. Fraser for the men.
Yeah, 3 minutes at least for that one. At least a minute a mile. And for the women, I'm gonna go with Tia winning, Katrin second, Haley third, and I don't know if Carrie and Brooke. I also think
all of the athletes beneath them on the leaderboard are all feeling, okay, those guys are supposed to win.
I also think 3 of the girls will beat.
But who is going to push them? Who's going to try to chase them down?
Will beat 3 of the guys. 3 of the girls will beat 3 of the guys. So 3 girls will finish, and there'll be at least 2 guys remaining. 3 guys remaining to finish.
When an unknown distance event, you have to rely on your fitness.
I think there's a real good chance. Carrie, or I'm sorry, Tia, Haley, and Katrin beat 3 of the guys. I could be wrong. They're just really good runners. I don't know. I was gonna cut it because it's just a trail run. You know, just do like the first 5-10 minutes, give my predictions, and come back. But I mean, what else am I doing? You know, I'm gonna be watching it.
We talked about this yesterday, Bill. It's that cat and mouse game. Maybe I'll run a little faster here and suck
Ooh, that's
everybody in. Or maybe I'll just
rookie move. I didn't put my monitor up this time. See me looking around my phone again. I've noticed in every video. It's kind of funny to watch because I never really noticed it that bad. Because I'm like this. I'm squinting on every video. I'm like, yeah. My eyesight's not very good, so. Yeah, this would be. Matt's got a. Well, is that Madero's behind him? No. Quant.
This is the CrossFit Games. There is a twist awaiting the athletes in this event.
Oh.
That is all we can say about this. You at home will find out about it at the same time that the athletes do. So just keep that in mind as we go through this run.
Look how fast and how pinwheels
Did you hear that?
are already coming down this slope.
So.
These guys are already kind of letting the wheels go. Arms are swinging, legs are swinging, almost.
Wow. So they're gonna have some kind of surprise, something to do. I bet like halfway through the run. But they don't know what it is, and we don't know. That's pretty cool. So you can't.
So cool to see these angles of really getting a better idea.
You can't. I don't know. You can't pace for that. Like you can't pace. You can't pace thinking, oh, we're gonna have to do something in the middle, because then you're guessing. Is it 10 minutes? Is it 15 minutes that we have to do it? Like what's in the middle of it? And if you pace for it and it's really easy and fast, you're gonna be behind the whole second half of the run. If you go, I mean, so it depends where the surprise is too. So I don't know. I think you run your normal trail run pace. You push the limit. You try to stay aerobic as much as you can. I think that's how I would approach it. I would just approach it just a normal run pace, pushing the run hard, hike, run, and then from there, you just hang on through whatever the middle is, and you know, you don't want to go dead into that, but I don't know if it's in the middle. We don't know where it is. That's interesting. That'll be fun.
Steeper than that would be. That's the type of grade these athletes are working with on this hill.
Yeah, the shot really doesn't do it justice. If you see an athlete is
Look at that.
strong and as capable as these athletes are, and they are
He's got a
walking
big
with
lead
their
now.
hands on their knees, or they are
That's
hands
Medeiros.
on the ground crawling.
He
You
passed
can't just
Quan?
say, oh, they're going down and taking these. These guys are literally
Yeah, Matt's got a huge lead already. 5-6 minutes
way
in.
out in front
Jeez.
as he is pushing the pace for the men. That's Sam Quant and Jeff Adler. Behind them is Noah Olson. So a lot of heavy breathing.
He's got a big
Already
lead.
6
Wow.
minutes in. And here comes Tia Toomey.
And again, the other thing we have to take into consideration, not just the slopes up.
Who's
and
behind
down,
Tia?
Not just the heavy breathing that you're all going to have.
Very
anyway, but
curious.
now you're sucking in that dust. I mean, I've
Very
worked on
curious
fire
who's behind
crews for
Tia
a lot
right
of
now,
years,
6 minutes in.
and that's smoke and dust.
Because Quan was in second behind Fraser, kind of pushing him on the downhill. And then Medeiros passed him, and Adler was right with him. But I wonder if he was just attacking the downhill, because you can catch your breath anyway. And then I don't think he came out too hot. He wasn't like in first or right behind. Maybe he did. I don't know. Is that Haley in second or no?
Haley Adams working her way up that
No.
55% grade.
Carrie's ahead of her.
Chased down Carrie Pierce. In the opening stages of this approximately 3-mile loop.
Is there a girl behind her?
7 minutes in.
I don't know. I wish they would do the
This
women's.
is basically what they're seeing as they
There we
navigate
go.
this portion of the course. There are going to be a couple of blind spots here. We have spotters on the course, so we'll be able to keep you updated with what's going on. We may not be able to see the athletes, but it gives you an idea. And you talked about the incline, the dust, but there's a lot of unsure footing out there as well.
Yeah.
This is not level ground.
I remember when I was training for the games, about the year before, we would do a lot of trail runs out here in Colorado. And the first time we did, I did it with Ali. He's a strength coach for the World Class Athlete Program at Fort Carson for the Army, for the wrestlers. So, but he's an endurance guy. Like, he runs in the Army 10-milers. He runs 5-minute miles in his sleep. Dude is really a really good endurance athlete, really good runner especially. And he's like, oh yeah, let's just go to this trail over here, section 16 in Colorado Springs. We'll just go do a trail run, whatever. So I finished in just over an hour the first time, like an hour 6. It's about 5 miles, 3.5, a little over 5.5 maybe, 3.5 miles up, and then the rest is pretty much down. Hold on. I want to hear what Chandler says. I'll finish the story.
Chandler, you had a chance to experience this firsthand.
Curious what he says,
first,
how
just
it was.
tell us a little bit about like the brush and the leaves and the rock. The terrain out here, it does not look forgiving.
Yeah, it definitely makes it to where you're having to spend a lot more mental energy than what you'd normally spend on a run, because if you aren't calculated with your steps and you're not thinking 1 or 2 steps ahead, then you might take a tumble down the hill. I won't say if anybody did that when we were doing the run, but someone may have, and they may have gotten scratched up, and they were like, I'm going to learn from this lesson and be a little bit more calculated, because you have a bunch of leaves, you've got some really dusty, dirty parts, you got some muddy parts, and they didn't learn their lesson. The person was me, unfortunately, so hopefully none of these athletes are in the same place, but yeah, it's definitely a challenging course.
When you haven't had a chance to practice and all of those things are sort of at play,
I wish he can't say his time,
get muddy,
because I bet they did the little middle
leaves
event.
and rocks and tumble.
I do want to listen to this. I'll finish the
There's
story.
only so much you can do to prepare your fitness.
Gosh, Matt's got
for
a
the
huge
real
lead.
world and real type of terrain. How do you try to prepare?
I think when
Not
it's
surprising.
physical,
He's
when
an
there exists
unbelievable
physical
runner.
unknowns, it's about having confidence and like knowns within your mental preparation. So just knowing that no matter what the situation is, if you lose a shoe, if your shoelace comes undone, like being prepared for that type of stuff is what's going to give you the advantage here, because
No, he
this
doesn't
is
have that
as
big of a
unknown
lead
and
on
unknowable as
Medeiros.
it gets for these athletes, right? There's just a lot of stuff that you wouldn't normally see on a run course
Wow.
if you're just running on an asphalt out and back type deal. And if your mental game's tight, then you're going to be
And
able to
who's
do
that
well.
behind? Adler.
Yeah, as difficult as it
He doesn't have that big of a lead
it
yet.
still feels pretty special to be here at the ranch, to be where
10
it all
minutes in.
started, to be
It
sort of
looked
at
way
the
bigger
Mecca
on
of CrossFit,
before.
the home of CrossFit. Do you get those vibes here as well?
Maybe he
Absolutely.
felt he
It's
was.
been, super cool for me
He might have
to
felt like he was
be out here
overcooking it a
with
little
MLT
bit
helping
at the
out,
6-minute mark when I was
I
like,
grew
whoa,
up
look how big a
watching
lead he
the
has,
old
6 minutes
school
in, because that was
games,
pretty
every
big.
7 pounds DVD.
Sure.
I've seen everything going
or
on
maybe
for
it just
the-
looked that
I think
big because they're all crawling uphill,
visit
and
out
it
here.
just, you know what I mean, it took
being
them
part of
longer to
that,
show
like,
over
being
that
part of
hill.
the history in some way is a super cool opportunity. And
But yeah, so to finish that story, Tia's right there with him. To finish that story, so anyway, we did this run for the first time, this trail, 5.5 miles ish, and the first 0.9 or 0.9 ish or mile is like, I mean, it is not straight up, but it is steep, and I'm running the whole, like he's like, run the whole thing, and I'm like a half mile in, and I'm like, dude, I am gonna die, because I'm thinking that's what the whole freaking run is. He's like, come on. He starts running backwards up the freaking hill as I'm dying. And I'm like, I'm literally going to die. I got a mile in, and my legs were just shot. Like, I was done for the rest of the run. It wasn't even a run or a hike. I was walking. Like, I would probably go 45 seconds of running, 15 seconds of walking. Like, I was that shot from, like, an aerobic system standpoint, and my legs and my calves, because I pushed that first mile so freaking hard. Anyway, after running it multiple times, I remember I probably ran it 5-6 times, and by like the 5th or 6th time, I'm like, I have one goal, and that is to move in a running or hiking pace the whole time, never walk. So once I did that, the next time I'm like, okay, now you're not going to have a hiking pace more than like 5 times. You know, hiking is what Carrie's doing right there, where when it's really uphill, like you get into parts where it's like this, right? So you're going to hike it, and you're not going to run it. Otherwise, you can't run the rest of it. Anyway, I got down from like a minute 3 or a minute 6 down, or an hour 3, hour 6 down to like 43 minutes, I think, or 46 minutes over the course of like 6 or 9 months or something. And before that, I was running in a track. I was doing 800 meter intervals, 400 meters, mile runs, 5K tests. You know, I was doing all sorts of running. I would go for, you know, a 4 or 5 mile run, but until I saw that trail for the first time, it blew me up when I came out too hot. So it's interesting seeing this, and then it really made me respect and love trail running, because I felt like my fitness and my ability to pace and knowing the course helped, which a lot of these guys have ran this similar course, which is helpful. But anyway, it was kind of a fun. So anyway, after the first time we ran it, I came down, like, come on, run, and I was, no, I was walking everything. So I called it the Death Trail. So ever since then, I called it the Death Trail, because it was just brutal, dude. I remember being like, that's the worst workout I've ever done in my entire life. I was hurting that bad. Everything. My calves were cramping, quads were cramping. Not cramping, but like, I didn't even want to walk. And then I was also just, I was freaking hyperventilating. You know, we're starting at 7,000 feet elevation, or 77,000. We're going to like 10,000 throughout that too. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's a low elevation. I mean, oh, man. And I really hadn't worked out at that elevation, so it's kind of an interesting story, kind of funny. Now I still call it the Death Trail. So every time I go to it, I'm like, you have to be prepared. I'm prepared mentally for it.
Second place in this event right now.
All right, back to the show. Maybe I'll tell a couple more stories to pass the time, huh?
Medeiros in 4th place overall coming into this event, but just 5 points back.
He's got a decent lead.
Third, 20 points back to San Juan for second.
And you see some
Little bunch there.
out there. They're just pointing in
Who's
one
that,
direction.
Tia?
It's the Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz.
Who's
They're
that in
not telling you
second?
how far
Haley?
to go, how much longer there is to be. They're just like, just
For the women?
go that way. There's someone over there somewhere that will tell you where to go.
I don't know.
next.
Noah making a move, huh?
Jeff Adler, so Olsen has now moved himself into 3rd ahead of Adler. Adler sits in 4th, Sam Plott still in 5th. Plott is
That helicopter sounds kind of annoying.
middle of your screen now. Tia Toomey leads
Not
the
gonna
way,
lie.
followed by Haley Adams, and Plott is there now. Matt Fraser
Look, Matt pushed the downhill.
down the other side of that
Like
hill.
he's really pushing that
And
downhill
this is
pace.
when you look at it, it's like, oh,
And
they're
trying
going
to-
downhill, thank goodness. For me personally, I would rather, even though it's tougher, go uphill than fly downhill.
It's tougher on your quads.
Knees, ankles, the risk of injury is
Well,
far greater. And I'm talking about if you're just running downhill, a nice paved hill. What this is,
Yeah,
athletes
I see what he's saying,
very, very
danger-wise.
cautious
But like,
downhill.
if you control yourself too much on the downhill, you can blow up your quads, because you're just stopping, taking small steps, and your quads are just. Where a lot of times you just open up that stride like Medeiros is up there, way up at the top, and you just let it rip.
The athletes will find out about that, and You will find out about it when they do.
And he's kind of relaxed his legs. Like that's what the downhills when your heart rate can relax because you're just free floating.
Their way through event number 5 here of stage 2 of the 2020 Reebok CrossFit Games, the final event of day 1.
To a certain degree, you know. You don't want to go too crazy on the downhill, but
Looked like Medeiros is doing his best Josh Everett impression from 2008.
Look up the video, kids. Now Medeiros has reached another decline, but Matt Fraser is still way out in front. Past the 16
God, that's a good
minute
pace
mark.
there. He's hustling. He is moving. It's still downhill.
The rest of the pack is Noah Olson.
I was gonna say, if that wasn't downhill, he's running like a 5:30 pace right there.
For the women for first place between Tia Toomey
Catch
and
him and
Haley Adams.
Carey.
There's Brooke Wells and Carrie Pierce.
That's Catcher, I think.
They're just getting to the top of that major.
Maybe it
incline.
wasn't. I could be wrong.
Olson and Adler. Olson leads Adler by, it looks like about 10 feet maybe. So Adler able to make up ground as he was in 3rd place for the beginning portion of this run, and Olson was able to overtake him with 2 of them basically.
16:45 in.
Now here come the women.
Somebody text me.
Again, you got to be very careful onto the set. You see Haley Adams just behind Tia Toomey. I think one thing people forget about Haley Adams.
Ooh.
Haley Adams taking a spill there.
You hear
Is she all right? Her ankle?
she had some cross country.
Okay, good. I was hoping she didn't sprain an ankle or
This isn't
something.
Unfamiliar
She might
territory
have.
for Haley.
She kind of buckled weird on that.
Quant.
Did she hurt her left
He's
ankle?
behind Haley Adams in the middle there, no shirt. And then it's Katrin Davis out there.
You see how small step she was taking right there?
I think I misidentified her earlier. It was Katrin Davis out there. Brooke Wells now, who went the wrong way, is now back in 5th. That's a huge misstep for Brooke Wells. 4th place overall for Wells, 205 total points, but only 15 back of Pierce and Adams.
She went the wrong way.
Again, you make that up in one event.
Exactly. You look at the point scale, it's 100, 75, 55, 35, 15. So after the 100 mark, it's a 20-point difference. And when Brooks only 15 out, especially how she started the day, she was on a trajectory of a 2nd and 1st here at the Sports Center.
No way.
To sort of gather herself.
Well, that's that mental part that we talk about. You know, with those.
She
things
might
that
be
pop up,
crying, I
they
don't
were
know.
looking to come back, and that was tough.
And now Justin Medeiros has overtaken Matt Fraser. So Medeiros out front, but not by much. They have one more.
Wow.
set.
Medeiros went on.
Coming up before they have
He's
a
trying to chase him
downhill
down.
portion
Well, he
back to
did so
start.
far. Wow.
This is the thing I love about Justin. It's that wrestler mentality. He wants to go head to head. He wants to throw punches. It's not a matter of.
That is shocking.
I mean, obviously, we all want to.
We just don't know how good a runner he is.
Afraid to go after it with Matt, and that's what
But
I
like
love.
Matt,
He's people
he
like
won
that
this
who
trail
really
run by
try to
like
take a
3
shot
minutes
at
in
him.
2016
Right, you want to knock the guy
or
off
17.
the top.
I need to look up what year they went to
Right
the
now,
ranch.
Medeiros
Wow.
is in front. And think back to 2016.
Matt's not going to let him get ahead by much.
Matt Fraser, I think the only time he was ever looking at someone's back was at the beginning. And now, unfamiliar territory for Fraser. He's going to swing out wide. And
Oh. I don't know why he went wide there.
And this is that last ascent. So we have about
Matt, that's as far as Justin. He's gonna. I think that's about as far as he's gonna
maybe
let Justin get ahead of him.
1,000 meters.
He's gonna want him to know
before we get
I'm
back
right
to
here
that starting point.
the whole time.
But this will be their last
I
climb.
can't believe Brooke went.
Nice little downhill portion.
Oh
and this will be the
man, I
one
wonder
that,
what place she was in before she went the
and
wrong
again,
way.
We know that it's the
That's
last climb.
brutal.
They don't know how many other ascents that they may have along the trail.
That's brutal.
And look how hard they're pushing each other. I really like the fact that they're really racing. Look at the distance they have between the rest of the group. I think that's
Gosh.
real important. They are battling.
Because you just know you're
I
out
don't
of
think
it.
any
I
of the
mean,
other people
you know
on the rest of the
did she go
course,
the wrong way
I feel
for
like they're just kinda
3
hanging
minutes?
on. Even Tia's out
1
front.
minute?
You
5
know,
minutes?
Haley's right behind her,
Even
but
if it was
it's
just
like
1 minute,
moving
you went
through
out
where
the wrong
these
way
guys
1
are
minute.
going
You have to go
head-to-head.
back a minute. That's 2 minutes.
Medeiros
Like
and Fraser
you're out of the event. I mean, you're not out of the
next to
event
each
on
other.
this
They are way out in front of everybody
with a
else.
minute
And
wrong
here's
way,
what's
a minute
important
back.
for
But how long
Medeiros
before they
is
found
this
her?
is the last event of the day. He's 20 points out of
Like,
second.
was it 5
Everybody's
minutes? Like, you
right
know,
there
5 minutes? Because then you're
first place
10
with
minutes
Fraser.
behind. 5 minutes there, 5 minutes back to get
is
back to the
sitting
trail
in
point.
second overall with 200 points. Adler behind him at 185.
That's brutal.
And then Medeiros is tied
And
with
it's going to be
Olsen
that much harder for an
at
event because you
180.
just
The
went
men's
so much
race is
longer
separated
distance
by
than
20
everybody,
points from
you
second
know?
to fifth. If Medeiros can get
Wow.
just stay where he's at. He's going to jump all the way up to second place from these other athletes. So this is he doesn't have to win this to get into that top second position on the other athletes.
I hope they give a Brooke update again on how long it was or anything.
And even with Matt's playing it smart. I love that they're just kind of hanging out on each other, just sort of driving each other. And this is, with all the hype that Justin has, we keep hearing this is kind of like how Matt was when he was coming in.
This is cool. I think Matt likes to have him right ahead of him.
Just going head to head, toe to toe.
Because if Matt pushes a little harder, he's going to make Justin go a little harder to stay in front. Where when he was in the lead by 30 seconds or 45, he doesn't know if he needs to push much more or not.
Because just 20 points separating second from fifth. I mean, that's a matter of one place in the event standings. So this leaderboard could look a lot different after this event.
I mean, we've seen that happen all day with these point swings with only 5 athletes. That's been an exciting element for this competition.
I wonder if Matt passes him here.
Medeiros just in front of Matt Fraser as the two of them working their way up another incline.
They both got to have a pretty big lead, though.
This final set has 2 different inclines. It's going to go up, level out for about 100 meters, and then go up one more time before they'll be able to make it back down the backside of this hill.
Matt's just mimicking him. It's just doing exactly what he does. This is cool. I think I'd be so excited about a run. This is fun.
They don't know what's coming up next. So.
It's really easy to tell them, but as far as, for us, like, yeah, this is totally what's happening next. What was the problem? Why'd you go so fast?
I almost wish I couldn't hear the helicopter because I would love to hear if there's no chatter going on between these guys.
There's no chatter.
Stuff like that back in
Maybe a
Texas,
couple
where the
words.
athletes were talking to each other as we were really working.
I don't think they're talking that
They're not
much.
going super fast, they're just trying to push their way up. So is there camaraderie?
It'd be cool to hear the breathing a little bit. I know that helicopter, I was talking about that. It's a little annoying.
Fraser and Medeiros way out in front of everybody else as we get close to the 23-minute mark.
Is Matt passing him?
5th event of day number 1.
Maybe, maybe not.
Matt Fraser has been impressive so far, as has the youngster Justin
Stand
Medeiros.
right behind him. One foot.
Tia Toomey is your leader for the women. When we last checked in with her, things looked like they had tightened up a bit, but now Toomey back out in front, ahead of Haley Adams.
But as you said, we saw Haley have that little spill on that big downhill on the midpoint of this event.
I thought maybe she had a little hitch in her step as she was coming down,
Looked like
possibly an angle or something, but right here on her run that she's opening up looks okay. So good to see that there wasn't an issue there because we want to see these guys going head to head. We want
Yeah,
to see
that's
her
what I was
be
worried
able to
about.
perform to her level.
So both the men's side and the women's side have similar scenarios playing out. You have the defending champion and then the youngest competitor in the field on their heels.
Haley's crawling a little bit
The men are in the
on her.
bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Jeff Adler sits in 3rd. Noah Olson is in 4th. The two of them have been trading that spot throughout this run.
And if everything finished the way it is now on the men's side, you'd still have Fraser in 1, but Medeiros would jump all the way up to 2nd place.
Now Haley Adams pulling even with Tia Toomey.
I bet she passes her. Yeah, there she goes. She's going to
Jeff Adler
try.
trying to hold off Noah Olson.
Wow. Both the rookies. Or not, Haley's not a rookie, but Haley
Now
and
Adams,
Justin
for the first time, leads
Medeiros both
Tia
take it,
Toomey.
both kind of chasing down Matt and
Well, here's
Tia,
what's big for Adams. She's second
which is
overall,
cool.
but
I didn't know
she
Justin was
is
that good a runner. I
5
knew
points
Haley
from
was.
Pierce and only 15 ahead
We'll
of
see, though.
Wells,
Matt and Tia
but,
are
I mean,
veterans.
Wells is
You know,
really
they know where
fallen
they're at.
off the map, so to speak, on the women's side, but
They know
it's
exactly where
not
they're
just
at.
the points for today, but when you give a young, hungry athlete like this a shot of adrenaline with going toe-to-toe with the best CrossFitter in the sport,
Yeah.
what is that going to set you up for the next day and the day after that?
Medeiros and Fraser now back to running as they hit a decline, and Fraser looked like he's trying to push the pace a little bit on Medeiros.
Now this is where it gets a little sketchy because this backside on the hill is basically all dust and sand. This is a very
Trying to look at their
I was saying
breathing.
a slippery slope, but it literally is a slippery slope.
And now Fraser has passed Medeiros. Now remember,
Yeah, that
There's a
looks.
twist to this event.
Fraser's like sprinting down
Athletes
that
don't
hill.
know about it. They're going to find out. At the same time, you will at
Wow.
home. So Fraser making the turn. Madero's making
Both
the
hustling
turn.
now.
And now a sprint to the finish.
Wow.
Turn around, run in reverse. Iron horse backwards. So this way, I'm serious. I'm not joking. You're gonna start losing. Run the whole course in reverse. Keep moving. I'm dead serious. Iron horse backwards now.
And there you have it. They're
What?
not done. They just reached the halfway point.
Matt didn't believe him at all.
He did not.
He didn't believe Dave at all. Of course, I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't. How would you think that?
I would say, haha, that's funny. Give
Oh
me
my
that
God.
one.
How
Yeah.
exactly? But what I liked was Medeiros didn't even. He just was like, okay, and just went. And
So when they finish the
that's
course,
one of the things about youth, I think, is you
they're
can
turning
just be
around and doing the whole
coached
thing
and be like,
back.
go here, use your.
What a-
opposite
but they don't know it till they finish.
All right,
Well, not
you
just
did.
not just youth, but
They don't know it till they finish,
inexperience
so they're
with
sprinting
Dave
full
Patrick.
100%. That's why I was like, they're both sprinting this because that was the finish line.
So that's probably what Matt was thinking. But Medeiros is like,
Because that was the finish line.
never met you before.
Yesterday,
It's awesome.
Daniel Brandon, Saxon Panchik, and Chandler Smith were running this. Smith and Panchik got in first. Danielle Brandon saw them running back up the hill and said she thought they were coming to cheer her on. And then found out that she had to go back and do it again.
Yeah, well, the best part is they didn't tell her.
They didn't.
Right?
Wow.
They're like, hey, let me do you a favor.
Well, I don't think they did right there too either. We saw Jeff.
He's looking
ask,
up at
he's
him.
Like, hey, are you guys done? He's looking back to see what's happening. Matt and Justin's head didn't even move.
I'd say yes. That'd just be me as a competitor. Yeah, we're done.
Adler seems to be
This is
relatively
awesome.
unfazed.
This is awesome because you could see, you saw Matt didn't believe him. Matt was like, and Justin maybe was like, oh, I can gain a few seconds on Max. He didn't believe it. Is there interaction here? He's going to tell Tia.
So now the gamesmanship.
Maybe.
Oh, they didn't even look. Didn't even look.
But watch, this is going to be my favorite part is when every athlete's going to be like, but now they're going to see more people come up. They're going to figure it out, I bet. No, it was
So
just like,
here's
all
the
right.
thing, the people that really got the slap in the face is going to be Justin and Matt. 'Cause
Right.
They were the first shot on that. They were so far ahead of the rest of the field. So even though everyone else is still getting that oh crap feeling,
God, Haley,
it's like
something's not right with.
they had the moment to
Haley
go,
might have sprained an ankle. Look at her right
crap,
ankle.
Something's up. So
Her
they
right
had
ankle's
that
like
chance
out. Maybe that's
to
just
kind of adjust.
how she runs, but her right ankle was like, it was kind of like
Hate to
this.
be a winner, you get to be
Or
out
like
in
her
front,
right
you-
ankle.
You are doing your thing.
See
you're
that?
doing your
It's
thing,
like
you're getting after it.
almost like she
But
did sprain it.
They also were able to handle that. That's what the whole test is.
Tui not even slowing down, making the turn and heading right back up.
Wow. This
When
is
we
like,
watched the demo team do this yesterday, Saxon Panchik knew what was coming. And he, I don't want to say sandbagged the event, but you could tell he was not going 100% on the
Ran
first
it
half.
correctly.
And when you look at his splits, they were basically about even. Chandler Smith was the first demo athlete across the finish line, and when he was told to turn around, he was wrecked. His second loop was significantly longer than his first one.
Catherine just shoved Carrie. You see that? She
Just
kind of
brutal.
gave her a little.
And the hard part
This is
that we
really-
see Fraser Medeiros.
This is really gonna test their aerobic fitness because when you blow out for that long, for 26 minutes, 29 minutes where they're finishing, and you're done. Like, I mean, they pushed it to the finish. Like, you know what I mean? And for that long of a running, and then you're told to run it back. Now it's really who recovers from that all-out finish between Justin and Matt, especially, because the other athletes saw him turn around and come back, so they might have known not to sprint. Like, okay, something's up. We have longer. But for those two, it's going to be like a real test of their ability to recover and still be aerobic throughout the rest of the run. Advantage Matt. I think it's a huge advantage Matt. I wouldn't be surprised if Matt wins by 3 minutes. Now, I said 3 minutes on the first part, but I also thought it was going to be like 40 minutes long. But I think that's advantage Matt because I think his aerobic system's the best. But Madero surprised the crap out of me on the run, so what the heck do I know?
Just took his medicine and heading back up.
Now, a twist like this,
I feel horrible for Brooke,
having to
though.
be kept secret for so long is vital. But at the same time, is that this was teased in the redacted episodes of the behind the scenes of the CrossFit Games. And if you guys go to YouTube and look up redacted episode number 1. And at the minute 27 mark, Dave is specifically bringing this up to the group that was there on site. And he didn't even want to, but he wanted to make sure that he told enough people early that this isn't a gimmick. We just didn't make this up on the fly. This is the plan to test the athletes beyond the confines of fitness or grittiness.
That's cool. That's like, oh,
there's something even beyond
that
mental
is
fortitude.
brutal.
When that switch goes off, can you turn it back on?
Wow.
Catherine
and Haley caught Tia. And Tia won the first part. Oh, that's tough. We'll see if she can make a comeback here, huh?
She was going to be in this event, posted on in, and now might have something left in the tank.
Now, weird part of her training that we see Ben Bergeron, and people got some odd vibes about him. It's like they've been running hills, and he's throwing sand on her in the middle of the trails, or getting her to do burpees, or giving her an extra round when it's not ready. It's like Bergeron actually does a lot of surprise things within the training, and this could be one of those things
Franny, be good.
that benefit Katrin, as well as the position she was in coming in. One of the things that a lot of coaches will do is, and this is a way more
This is
simple
cool.
version of this, is as you're going through your workout, they will no rep you even if it was a good rep, and no rep you again, and no rep you again, just to see if you can mentally handle that. That's basically what happened here, is they got no rep to no rep, and now they have to come around and keep on going. Now, Katrin, we know that she can handle this, and I think now, you know, are you going to know what the end is for sure? No, but now she knows she's back in the race, and I think she's going to start eating that
Wow.
Matt Fraser is still the leader for the men. He is, it looks like he's left Justin Medeiros pretty far behind him right now. We'll have to see when Medeiros comes over that hill. But Fraser still hanging on to first place as he makes his way back through this approximately 3-mile loop.
When I look at we talked about the elevation changes in the course itself. When I look at it going in
That's
reverse,
awesome.
I feel that it's a much tougher course in reverse because the back half has such steep inclines and declines. When you're doing that fresh, you got nice fresh legs.
He's
You're
ahead of
excited
him,
about
but
the event, but the back end of this, the last quarter of this direction,
it's not a
is probably
big
the most
lead.
difficult part of this entire course. And the other thing is you
8
know
seconds?
that it's coming up. That's what's bad.
So Fraser leads. Justin Medeiros is in the upper left-hand part of your screen. It looks like he is closing the gap. And now Sam Kwan, who's the last man across the
There's
finish line,
Brooke.
making his way up the hill, and Brooke Wells is on his way down. Her way down, pardon me.
Gosh. That sucks.
Now for Brooke Wells, this is the
Wish they would bring it up
15
again.
or 0 platter that Dave is holding out, right? Because there is no cap to this. As soon as you turn around, there's no getting you, and you either finish or you quit. And is it
I wish they
that-
would have given
is it
points
almost
for the
worth
first
that
half of it,
15
though.
At the end? Well, it is when you look at the leaderboard based off how close these women are. But
To make
again,
everybody that
it's
was
outside
close
the
sprint to
confines
the
of
end.
Anything you could have prepared for
You know?
before
Like
something
to make
this.
Tia
After this, I
and
can't
Haley
wait to see
sprint
what
with each other
weird-ass
to the end, to make some
training
races to the end.
coaches are going to start doing for
Carrie
the
and
athletes.
Carrie and Katrin. Also, remember they're kind of budging each other. Katrin kind of gave Carrie a budge on the turn. Like make them sprint to make them feel the same thing the leaders felt, you know?
Medeiros has cut into that lead that we saw the last time we checked on these two, but
Wow.
Fraser still managing to hold the youngster off.
She must have went out of the way a while, dude. She must have really went out of the way. Like gotten lost by a while because she's 10 minutes behind where Fraser and Medeiros came in.
I like that. Just, yep. Okay. See it at the finish line.
Yep, see it over there.
Don't Don't go the wrong way again.
Don't go the wrong way again.
Well, and at this point, the surprises, I guess, probably ruined for her. She had time to sort of mentally prepare herself.
Yeah.
Whereas you saw, Matt Fraser and Justin Medeiros kind of selling out, thinking that they were done.
I would
That
snag
was
the water,
awesome.
shook my feet out, put a little bit on my head.
After a quick massage.
I'm like, how long
I'm
has
good.
it been?
Let's go.
Okay. Can I have a flashlight, please?
So all 10 athletes now have made the turn. Brookwell's the last one to do that. And she's working her way back up the hill. She just got done making her trip down. And Haley Adams and
I wish one of the trail people could like jump into their ear and tell them how long out of the way she went.
trying to close that
So I'm
gap.
curious.
Tia Toomey back. The last time we saw her in 3rd place now. So David's daughter comes in 5th place overall, 160 total points. She can make up some serious
She was in
ground here as well.
3rd
Put
or
herself
4th
possibly
with
in the top
Carrie
three.
coming into the
Depending
first
on what the rest of
regular
the
part of the
pack will do.
run.
Haley Adams 2nd place overall with 220 points.
We talked about this earlier, Chase. It's the way the events are set up. It's who is the most hungry is going to have the best chance. Now, you take out the total, Catherine's only going to be able to do so much. But everything else, if she wants
Pretty decent
it,
lead too. Well,
it's
10
there
seconds.
for the taking. It's just a matter of how much you want to fight for it.
Not even.
We did see Catherine in the beginning of this race.
No.
She was way in the back. So the way she was,
Yeah.
the ability for her to hang in there, not get worried about that, and be able to kind of creep up and creep up and creep up to where she's in the front. And
It's gonna be a long
pushing the
video.
tempo, pushing the pace
A
right
really
now.
long
Like,
video.
Haley, who's a good runner. This is what she's known as. You talk to like Chris Henshaw. Chris Henshaw always talks about Haley Adams, about what she has in that capacity. So the fact that she's pushing like this is really a huge testament to what Catherine's doing. Huge.
I think for Catherine,
I'm out of coffee.
she was probably one of the few that when
it's
this
pretty
was
late anyway.
told to her, she felt like it was a gift.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
The others were like,
Absolutely.
crap, okay. She's like, I have more time.
Yep.
This is something I'm accustomed to in a weird sense of the word.
And if you were with us this morning, we talked about how good Catherine Davis-Otter has gotten at pulling off comebacks, and maybe she's starting another charge.
Sorry, also,
Again, 5th place
if you're wondering why I'm
overall,
blinking nonstop,
has 2/4
there's a light over here,
so far
so
today, and look at the-
like this is without the light. You see how that shadow? You can barely see me, so I have like a light over here, and it's like making me blink a lot because I'm looking right to the left of it. Maybe I'll look this way more too.
Tia's out of reach.
Take some breaks from looking right at the light.
This should put her in that 3rd place position.
Make sure you guys can
based
still
off
see the
standings
screen.
that the other athletes are at.
You can make up as many as 85 points on someone in a single event. Well, Haley Adams is trying to make up the distance.
Yeah, the hard part there is Tia won the first part. What they thought the event was. Matt won the first part. Matt looks like he's still gonna win, but it doesn't look like Tia is.
First uphill portion coming to the downhill, but that the biggest ascent has yet to come. It's about that halfway point of the course.
Adams keeping Catherine Davis-Daughter within reach.
Yeah, she caught her a little bit here.
9 minutes gone by here in the 5th and final event on day 1. We talked about the demo team running this yesterday. Chandler Smith was one of the athletes who did it. Once again, he is with Nikki Brazier.
Talk about a twist, and unfortunately, you experienced it firsthand on your own. I mean, just tell me a little bit about what was going through your mind.
I don't think I've blinked this much ever in my life, but I noticed I've been doing it a lot.
This whole thing in reverse.
Honestly, I was just so pleased with the masterstroke of programming that Castro had come up with. The Shyamalan-esque twist. I was just appreciating the intricacies of everything going on. But in actuality, I was very upset. I had sold it out kind of to finish the first part of the run. And my fitness bank account is already a little lower than normal. So when I overdrafted, I didn't have the protection that I am used to. And it made the back end just a slog. So I know these athletes are going through it. It hits like a bad breakup or spilling a pot of chili on yourself. Like it's rough. So they're going through it right now.
I believe it. I mean, as a competitor, we talk a lot
He's
about
got some
obviously
good
being physically fit,
analogies there.
also having the mental capacity to being able to take on any kind of a test. But when it's so unknown and you're in the midst of it, I mean, how do you redevelop and refine your mental fortitude to finish?
What's up, big fella?
So for me personally, I just I was like, all right, I have to find a way. At least at this point, you know.
You ready for
know
this?
The distance. So it's like, how can I break something?
So they did the first part. They did the 3 mile run.
Yeah.
It's like 26 to 30 minutes for all of them, right? Fraser was 1, Medeiros was 2, Tia won it. Haley Adams was 2nd, Katrin was 3rd, Carrie was 4th. Well, these two sprinted to the end.
Oh, shit.
Absolutely sprinted.
Uh-huh.
They crossed the finish line, and they knew there was going to be a twist. They didn't know what it was.
Uh-huh.
The second they crossed the finish line, Castro says,
Go back.
turn around and do the whole thing backwards.
Oh my god.
So they like sold out to finish.
So are they last right now?
No, they're in first.
They're still in first.
Yeah, they were ahead by a while. I think they probably took the first 2 or 3 minutes back up.
Are you still commentating right now?
Yeah, you see this recording?
Oh, you're live.
Yeah.
Do you mind
You see the phone right here and the recording and the live?
Hi. You want to go get Sonic Blast?
Not right now, no.
Not right now, but later.
Probably not. I'm pretty full from that pizza.
It wasn't a great job, but I'm glad I tried.
Big thanks to Chandler Smith for taking the time to do that. His effort is on the bottom left part of your screen, and he was hurting when we watched him go through that. Meanwhile, the battle for first place for the men has gotten a little tighter as Justin Medeiros is pulled closer to Matt Fraser. And then we saw, if you're watching the women, it looked like Haley Adams had passed.
We shut that all the way, big fella?
We'll have to check in with them once they get through that blind spot that is on the course. But Matt Fraser had a pretty big lead on Justin Medeiros. Medeiros is cutting the net.
That's like the coolest thing, man. That's like one of the coolest events.
Adams, but maybe not for long, as
One of the
Adams
event
pulled
twists, I
even
should say.
with the former two-time champion, and now Haley Adams is in front.
Look at the left side of your screen on the men's side. The top of that hill is about 1 mile from the turnaround, and this will be the highest point of elevation for the entire trail, getting up to 770 feet. They got about a 420-foot incline in a quarter-mile worth of space. So
Wow.
this hill,
That's pretty steep. Also, I mean, just like do Fran as hard as you possibly can. Completely sell out. You can't lay down. The second you finish the 9 and 9, they say you have to do it backwards again. Do 9, 9, 15, 15, 21, 21. Like that's what it's like, you know?
They're trying to conserve something for that, but while still trying to move. And I think it's interesting how they keep looking
is.
back. They're so far away from
I mean, I wasn't going to record this long, but I'm going to be watching it anyway, so
I'm gonna slow you down. That's my little break as I turn around and look to see if anybody's back.
might as well hang out.
Well, think back to the marathon row a couple years
Can you
ago and how that
chill, dude?
athlete said, hey, look, you're where you are.
You want them to be gummy bears?
Push this, right?
No.
Let's just settle where we are. And, you know, Matt Fraser is so out of
Maybe.
reach right now. They obviously want to cut into his
They need some gummy bears. They need some.
Yeah.
They need some sugar out there.
good for him right now.
Yeah, they should have tucked a few little
I'd look back
sugar
at my,
things in their pockets there.
Top of the hill man wins the rest of the event. Gentlemen's agreement at the top.
Katrin finished the first part in third. Now she's in first, but there wasn't points for the first part. You know?
Uh-oh.
Medeiros
Chill with that rapper dog.
and Fraser.
I would say in terms of time difference, this is you're going to catch up pretty quick until you get to the bottom of the summit and you start walking up the hill. I'll see what the time increase is on the backside.
When last we checked in with Tia Toomey, she was in third place. Remember, she was the leader at the turn for the women, and both Adams and David's daughter were able to pass her.
Yeah, let's see that check-in.
For the men, Noah Olson, Jeff Adler, and Sam Kwan are still out there as well.
Are those the guys right there?
Those are dudes.
Yeah. The girls are right behind them though. I predicted 3 women would beat 3 guys, but I think it's just going to be those 2. I think they might catch Noah and Jeff.
Now here come David
Because I don't see Tia back there.
and Haley Adams. Nearly 45 minutes gone now in the 5th and final event of day number 1.
Looks like Haley's getting a little tight in the back. You can see her arching. I haven't seen any change at all in Catherine. She's looked solid, hands on her legs, doing the exact same thing all
Yeah, the low
She's
back cramps
moving
on
up, it's not
trail runs are
breakdown.
real.
And Tia Toomey looks like she's still in third place. We saw the men once again. It was Jeff Adler who's in third, followed by Noah Olson. So Sam Quant's still in 5th place, but Tia Toomey, after leading through the first half, is now in third. And now Matt Fraser and Justin Medeiros have reached the top of that diabolical incline. start to pick up the pace.
They have a pretty long descent all the way down, about a half mile. They're right at that halfway point on the back half of this trail. So once they get to the bottom, that's when it starts to get pretty fun. They'll be about
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Carrie can catch Tia. I
3/4
don't know.
mile from the finish.
That is
once
uphill
they
for
get to
Tia.
the bottom of this hill.
Fraser's managed to put a little distance between himself and Medeiros. They were essentially right next to each other on the upside of that hill. Tia Toomey solidly in third place.
What's up, big
right
fella?
now. Toomey coming into this event with 315
I wish
points.
I had a chair to sit in.
95 up on Haley Adams.
And look at the difference
You do.
between Matt Justin coming down
Your
there.
brother's
Here's
one
the
right there,
difference between
right beside you.
21-year-old and 30-year-old. And granted, 30 is not old, and that's speaking from my relative perspective for sure. But Matt is being very conservative about what he's doing with his body, trying to use it for the rest of the weekend.
Not to clean it off, by the way.
Just doesn't. He's not worried about that. That's youth right there. He's like, let's go, man. Like,
It was in
I'm
the
gonna go down
garage.
as fast as I can. Not, I need to worry about my knees and I need to worry about my ankles and everything else. So it's really interesting to see the difference between the two athletes as they're descending.
You can see Matt Fraser's thoughts like, my knees, my knees, my knees, my knees.
Well, I know my knees are saying that. His might be saying that, but mine definitely.
Medeiros is like, whee!
Medeiros took a look over his shoulder to see if Olsen and or Adler had crested that hill. And now he's just worried about catching up to Matt Fraser, who continues to lead. And Tia Toomey on the bottom left of your screen. She is in third, and that is Carrie Pierce in fourth place. Brooke Wells in fifth place
How many more minutes?
for the women right now. Wells looks like she's going to
Carrie isn't too far behind her. This is the last one of the night.
But 205 points, just 15 back to Carrie Pierce and Haley Adams.
You know, Matt Fraser has won so many of our
I'm not sure yet.
events that we've had, whether it's been, Murph styles or trail runs or whatever. He always performs so well. But
Carrie wasn't
never
too far back at
really
Tia.
I love that we're looking at this long of a race, whether it's this much of a push all the way through.
Noah Olsen has moved into third place for the men as he has passed Jeff Adler.